Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm your host D-Day, bringing you some more Oritech Academy. And before I keep going, just letting you guys know that the first link in the description below is the link to the entire playlist. So if you click that link, it will bring you back to the same video and open up the entire playlist on the right-hand side of your screen, super organized. Last time we were working on drone ports as well as the nuclear reactor, which is over here now. I moved it and I did what I said I was going to do. It is 3 tall out here, but I am building it downwards. So whenever I have more materials and I feel like it, I will continue to make this guy deeper. So also down here on the other side, I have expanded a whole bunch of aesthetically not good looking Oritech machines. I'm not really happy with this. I'm probably going to eventually move it somewhere nice and presentable upstairs. But we have 4 drone ports. One is coming from the iron deposit. The another one is coming from the redstone. Another one is coming from the uranium. And the 4th one is coming from the special setup that I am so sorry I forgot to include in the previous episode. I mentioned I was going to surprise you guys, and I recorded over 3 separate days, and I did not remember. I'm so sorry. But let's start off with the surprise I was talking about. As you can see, this obsidian chest is filled with only plutonium. This one next to it is filled with only uranium. I have processed a bunch of uranium over here too. Oh man, I've realized I am getting way too much uranium dust. This stuff is getting to a point where it's absolutely horrendous for me. It's not that good because it burns so fast in the nuclear reactor. And we do have something better, which is the plutonium pellets. So let me just show you guys the process real quick to making uranium pellets. We need 2 uranium dusts, right? We need to get, let's see, do I have any? I do. Let's grab half a stack of copper gems. We come over here, we have, let's grab a full stack of fluxite in our atomic forge. Copper gems, we cut them down with 8 lasers and a whole lot of power, and of course some time. This doubles the gems into the copper dust that we need to flip over and then mix with the 2 piles of uranium. This is a little bit quicker, and that makes the uranium gems that we need. These 64 uranium gems will take it over here, and with nickel, adamant, or duradium, which I wouldn't recommend duradium at this point, we can combine with plastic to make uranium pellets. I like the adamant ingots because now we have the diamonds and the nickel coming from the bedrock extractor. So let's grab 32 of our adamant ingots, and then we can grab 32 of our plastic sheets. We come over to the assembler. So we go uranium gems, plastic sheet, and adamant ingots will make us 3 uranium pellets each. So that in turn gives us a stack and a half of uranium pellets, which we can then toss into our nuclear reactor. This guy is going in and it's not burning because I added a redstone port to it. So now it is up and running, and the design that I made, it is still fully functional. So it does go up to heating and then it goes to unstable at 1200. Yep, unstable, but it stays on the 1200 at unstable, creating the 4600 RF tick. But if you can hear that little sound that's being made, just look at how fast it is burning the uranium pellets. I'm talking just to show you guys how fast this burns. No edits in the YouTube video. This is burning way too fast. I can go make a sandwich, come back, and it'll burn through all of the uranium that I have in the item hopper. It is just simply, it's too fast. So I'm going to let this burn through so that we can fill this buffer here. When you highlight over the reactor quad rod, it shows fuel out of 2000, and you can see how bad it burns out of 2000 fuel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. It's done, right? What I have found out that I enjoy a lot is the plutonium dust. Plutonium dust, you don't need to do anything to it. You make the pellets straight out of the plutonium dust. So let's grab 2 stacks of plutonium dust, which I'll show you guys the setup for the plutonium dust in just a second. We need, same thing, we're going to grab a full stack of plastic sheets, and then I do have a full stack of adamant ingots. So this, not needing to turn the plutonium into plutonium gems, I do not know if this will be changed in a future update, since the uranium gets turned into uranium gems. The plutonium dust in a future Oritech update might be turned into plutonium gems to make it consistent. This is the earliest stages of the Oritech mod. I love this mod. I have a feeling they're going to do a lot of little tweaks depending on what mod pack you play. But this is amazing. I'm going to let this guy go all the way through so you guys can see how many plutonium pellets we get. I'm going to add this guy to it because that was one of my test guys. And now I want to show you... Oh yeah. Totally forgot. So I did a thing here. Yeah. I was playing with Oritech, the low yield. It says it right here. Low yield nuclear explosion device. It's made of uranium pellets and dubious containers and 1 block of TNT. I really thought I was going to go far enough away from the base, from everything, right? That's ground zero right there. I really did not think it was going to make such a massive explosion when it went off. I thought it was going to be more along the lines of other mods that have the, I'm doing air quotes right now, nuclear bomb, you know, air quotes. This thing is the low yield, let me see, use, low yield nuclear explosion device. Handle with extreme caution, small but mighty, perfect for those who prefer a subtle touch of devastation. This isn't subtle, guys. This isn't subtle. My mini map has a scar on it. I'm really glad that it did not reach further. I put it out in the middle of nowhere here, and it exploded instantaneously, turned everything into fire and magma, and it even almost reached the quarry. That's how far away it is. I mean, I'm lazy. I teleport between the home and the quarry. I did make it close enough that I could fly, but I'm lazy. I teleport. I did not think that this thing would reach all the way to the quarry. This is just crazy. So, down here, what I was going to show you guys is I have a setup where I have 4 of the solar generators. They're touching sunlight. 4 of these guys can perfectly power 4 of the enderic lasers. I have 1 of them on the bedrock extractor, which is only extracting uranium, and I have gotten it to a point that it is processing faster than it is gathering, which is good, because before I had it where this chest was always full and I needed to process everything faster. 3 of the lasers are attached to the fragment forge. So all of my plutonium, all of my raw uranium is going into the fragment forge to be ground up. It has speed 1 and 2, 3 speed adapters on it, and 3 machine yield add-ons on it. It's running at 406 RF a tick, just a little bit over what it can handle. But the triple byproduct gets me small plutonium dust. Like I said, I was making way too much uranium dust. I have it going into a trash can now. Guys, I don't need it. The small plutonium is the middle slot. It's coming out through the machine inventory proxy, coming out the wall so it looks a little bit nicer. We have a compacting setup here where it will drop the small plutonium dust into this device, the crafter. When it's 9, It's the same signal. It blinks and it makes one full plutonium dust, which sends it to another drone port here. There it is. Perfect timing. And then the drone port has its rounds where every so and so often it will fly off. So now it's flying off. It's attached by that energy pipe right there. And it goes into this hole that I cut because of aesthetic reasons. You guys know how I am. But what's awesome about this is it's throwing away the uranium dust. It is only making plutonium dust right now. And it is completely passively powered. This is 100% free. So free power, free lasers, free uranium, free plutonium, and then it sends it like an ender chest for free. So we have our really cool quarry here, which touches sunlight. And I did that on purpose so that we could use the solar generators for that setup. I have a feeling that maybe using these guys, the low yield, to get to daylight might be a better idea than setting up a quarry. What do you guys think? So again, I am doing long-winded explanations. I have also moved the fuel generators over here, gotten a new oil spout, all of that good stuff. And down here, everything is being sent to its own powered furnace, which is turning into its ingot form. So iron, nickel, we got copper, we got gold, we have platinum. There is no ore doubling or anything going on because now we have infinite resources and I'm not going to need this much. So I'm not setting everything through a fragment forge into the powered furnace. I'm not going to make these guys faster or anything like that. We have an in-between chest that has the blacklist for all of the ores, and then everything gets pulled from here into redstone, lapis, emerald, diamond, and coal. And then I have a blacklist here for everything that goes in the previous chests. So that covers everything. The blacklist item filter with the chest at the end, it has to be there or else it will not send anything anywhere. Like it has to be a point A to point B. This is the point B. Even though nothing is going here, this is point B. So today what I really want to work on, now that we have a decent amount of power going on, see, the uranium's gone. It's out, completely empty. I want to work on the particle accelerator. And now we have a little bit more. We have 3 stacks of plutonium pellets, which is really awesome. It's required for the Manhattan module, which needs Heisenberg compensators and a block of TNT. This is Manhattan module. This is supposed to be high yield. So I am glad that I figured out the low yield is that big. The high yield, I might have to go into a different biome. And I'm going to be really sad if it reaches all the way into this biome. So let's go particle accelerator. I'm actually really excited about this one. It looks really cool. It is a fancy mod. Let me show you guys the plutonium real quick. I'll dump it all in here real fast. The plutonium does not burn hotter. It does not need a different setup. Just like the uranium, it burns the same amount of heat. So if you play any other modded Minecraft, this plutonium does not burn hotter than the uranium. It does not require a different reactor. You can use the same reactor that I've already shown off. It stops at 1200, and it also burns for the same amount of RF. So it's not hotter, and it does not give you more RF a tick. What's awesome about it is instead of fuel 2000, it is fuel 20,000. And as you can see, it is still going down as fast as before with the uranium, but out of 20,000, it lasts 10 times longer. 10 times longer. This is definitely the fuel source that is worthwhile. So I would have to talk for 10 times longer for you guys to hear the little sound effect for another one of these plutonium pellets to be burnt, which I am trying to do right now, and it actually is a lot more difficult and slightly awkward. So just take my word for it that it burns a lot longer than the uranium pellets. There we go. Okay. But let me turn this guy off because we don't need the RF a tick real quick. We're going to work on particle accelerator. Oh, I have this goofy foundry set up. I maxed out. I lifted it up. I added even more speed add-ons. It is running at 2000%, right? It's great. But maximum usage, 13,050. Not so good anymore. So I have gone into terrible 23% energy efficiency. We have something that we can work on to combat this, but we'll do that next episode probably. It is the synergy matrix. So the synergy matrix, machine efficiency, machine speed, Heisenbergs, and overcharged crystals with plating will get you plus 17 speed, but also plus 10 energy efficiency. We won't be dealing with the plus 10 and minus 4. We'll get plus 17, plus 10. So the more we pop on this guy, the better the machine is. No drawbacks. But what we need are these overcharged crystals. They are really annoying to make because of the superconductors. But particle collider, this is why I want to make the particle collider. We'll make the particle accelerator linear motors. That'll make it faster. And then the guide rings is what it flies through. Energite, dust, and fluxite, you slam them together, you get an overcharged crystal. I'm hoping it's going to be really going to be that easy. For this to happen, we need to generate 5,000 joules worth of power. So they need to slam into each other, going 5,000, I believe, meters per second. So my brain thinks one item stands still, the other one hits it going 5,000. Another way of doing this is making 2 particle colliders with 2 particle accelerators and making both of these items go 2,500 and slam into each other. I'm hoping that works. I'm going to test it out. So we're going to need a whole lot of duradium. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and flux gates. I think I made a bunch of flux gates. Well, 6. 6 is good. And duradium, I have 3, but I have 28 netherite ready. Let's do this. I can show you guys how nice and fast it is. I like it. It's super nice and fast, but 13,000 RF a tick drains the battery, and then this guy putters out. So it's decent, but we need to fix this problem with the synergy matrix add-ons. There's our duradium. Here's a whole bunch of adamant. Let's make a particle accelerator linear motor so we can put it inside of the particle accelerator itself. Let's make 2 of them because we're going to have to speed up the particle in some way. Advanced batteries, still just regular crafting recipe. All right, and in the essence of time, let's go ahead and we're going to, man, really? Split these guys into 32. Let's just make 32 batteries. And we're going to need a superconductor for each particle accelerator. Do I have extras? I think I made them. Oh, thank you. Past D-Day. 44 superconductors. And that should be enough for us to make 2 particle accelerators. The linear motors. Yeah, look, we'll make 2 of them. And then we need 1 particle accelerator. So that requires us to make a goofy dropper. We have our particle accelerator. Okay, particle accelerator. That is a tongue tire. And particle accelerator linear motor. Cool. We need a bunch of these particle accelerator guide rings. So we need to make a kind of sort of circle with this. So that means it's a square with the corners cut off. So we need 2 of these guys for each corner. So we need a minimum of 8 to be able to wrap it around in a circle here in Minecraft. Oh, neat. We need industrial glass. Okay, so regular glass, plating, and steel. We need 8 for wrapping around the corners. Then we need 9, 10, 11, 12 for all cardinal directions. So that means we need 24 of these glass. So let's go ahead and make ourselves 12 redstone torches. That's easy, right? And then particle accelerator guide rings. There we go. We got 12. All right. So this is going to be the hard part. From what I understand, the particle accelerator is going to take up a lot of space. So I'm thinking, since we already started working over here, this guy is set. Let's go ahead and start working in this chunk here, F3 and G. We did not put a chunk loader into this section, but I have a feeling we're going to need to go into this next chunk as well. All right, so I kind of like this. The nickel on the outside, the iron on the inside. It looks like exactly the same color for the center, but it has a different color border. That is actually pretty cool. So if I wanted to be extra, I could do the center as copper, and we'll have a white border, orange border in here as well. Designs. Ooh, or instead of doing a dirt path, we can do the copper on the outside. What do you guys think of that? All right, so let's put this guy down and we'll figure out like where it all goes and then move it, of course. So we have our particle accelerator guide rings. Here's our particle accelerator. We need to put it in here so that it's holding on to this bar here. Then we will turn the corner here. So this is now facing us when we put it down. Okay. And when we right click, it moves the side facing us. Okay. So we're going to move this way to this corner and then go that way and this way like that. Okay. That's one corner. Then a middle block. And then again, we're going to do the corner and the corner. Yeah. Middle block, corner, corner. Middle block, and corner, corner. All right, so we got a circle, and I could have moved it back so that it's not over the lines. All right, guys, so future D-Day here, and I have some crazy news to share with you guys. So I have set up a giant particle accelerator here, and it is really complicated, to tell you guys the truth. The biggest problem that I've realized with the particle accelerator is that it is insanely unreliable. So I have had maybe 2 weeks of trying to get the particle accelerator to work. I have recorded multiple sessions, 2 hours each one of them ending in a dead end because the particles keep missing each other. So we have a mirrored setup on both the X and the Y axis now, and the path between the two particle colliders is now a zigzag snake way kind of looking path. Before, what I had is I had the redstone sensor eject right here. It would eject this direction, and this guy was facing this way, and this was the center. This was the center that I wanted. It is mirrored on this axis and on this axis. So over here, I had the redstone eject on this one. This one was straight. And since they were both exactly identical, I wanted them to collide here in the middle. I went as far as mirroring the entire setup perfectly so that the particle goes to the right in both of them. This one is exactly identical now to this one over here. They both exit to the right. They both have items coming in from the right. All of the power cables are exactly identical to the other setup. So let's see if I can get this thing to work once. Usually when I shut my computer off and turn it back on, all of the numbers are different. So This right here is a redstone signal is turning off the hopper so that it doesn't drop it immediately. I want them both to be dropped at the same time. The path for the item pipe is exactly the same length. It is also exactly mirrored, exactly the same pipe distance from the hopper to the particle accelerator. Just in case one extra block of item pipe changes the speed in which an item actually arrives. So it is exactly the same distance between the two item pipes. And now we have fluxite, we have energite dust, and on. So now we can watch from up here. It's going to spin around in the inner circle first until it gathers up enough joules to trigger the redstone in the middle for it to launch out into the bigger circle. Now it's going to gather up enough energy to trigger the redstone to spit out in the in the exact opposite direction. So as you saw, it shot out here. And I'm assuming that it shot out over here as well. So the problem that it is having now, this one ejects as soon as it hits over 2500 joules. The problem is it goes this way. So I'll head this way. I measured the path. It can do a straightaway of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an angle of 3. So it goes this way, turns, because I made the path a lot longer. It goes past the center. It keeps going this way. Goes this way. Goes this way. Comes into the other circle. Goes this way. And here is the problem. It goes here, and then instead of staying in the outside circle, it now shoots in here, which then turns it, which is weird because it's a one block turn. It shouldn't be able to do that. It turns it and fires it here, and it goes in here even though this one's bent, so I'm assuming it registers this one, and it spits out here because it can't make the second one block turn. So it shoots out here, which is, what is that? 170, 100. This one, 226, 104. I'll show you it did exactly the same thing, but on the other side, 226, 104. Yeah. And then this one, yep, 170, 100. For some reason, both of them fire. Both of them go this distance, go around and shoot out. And it does the same thing on the other side at the same exact time, and it fires out here. They completely miss each other. There's only one path for this particle to take, and both of the particles, they miss each other. And I think it has something to do with the way the math of the particle works. I don't believe it actually travels each block. I think when it has a certain speed, it travels from this block, maybe to this block, then to this block. So when one particle lands here and the other particle lands here, then this particle lands maybe over here at the same time that this particle lands over here. That's what I'm thinking. And that's how they're missing each other, because they're not actually traveling each block. The annoying thing is, I can get this thing to work if I move some of the blocks around and recharge the batteries. It's really annoying. At one point, I got them to collide over here. That's why I have the grid here for the tachyon emitters. These guys, the tachyon absorbers. It used to collide here. That's why I had one that was orange path and one that was blue pathed. And it worked 10 times in a row, and then it decided to stop working. So this one, even though it goes the same speed as this one fires out, and it gets to here. This one fires out, and it gets to here, and they collide here. But like I said, I shut my computer off, turned it back on, and it started missing each other. Then what I did is I picked up the particle accelerator here. I picked up the particle accelerator here, and I put them back down. I don't know if this actually works because I have tested out so many different variables, it's not even funny. I even went as far as making sure that I put the particle accelerators down in the same exact order that the particle moves in, because I realized that one side of the linear motors is flat and the other side has like a nubby that sticks out. So I walked in a circle to make sure that all of the linear motors are pointed in the same exact direction. Like I said, I made sure that the pipe was the same exact length. All of the redstone is exactly the same. Everything is exactly mirrored on X and Y. And I also upgraded our nuclear reactors all the way down to where the nuclear reactor gives us exactly 9,984 RF a tick, because these cables, they can only transfer 10,000 RF a tick. And I don't want to get into the superconductors yet. These guys take too much to craft. So I'd rather have more than one of these nuclear reactors and cut the pipes off than upgrade to superconductors for everything and have one. But I went as far as cutting this guy off completely from all power and setting up a mirrored setup of two identical nuclear reactors running 9984 RF a tick with exactly the same pattern of the power cables being laid out. Because I even tested to make sure that it's not the further machines getting more power than the closer machines, and that affecting the speed in which the motors end up moving the particles. I worked really hard to make everything as identical as possible. They're both cut off. Both of these guys have their own power source, which they're only being powered by a nuclear reactor each. Let's see, this one is at 17.32 million, 34.6. This one is at 16 million, 91. So that means this one used up a little bit more energy. It has given me a whole lot of time to make all of the, what are they called? The overcharge crystals by testing. I've made so many overcharge crystals that I have attached a whole bunch of these synergy matrix. We're running now at 7,000% efficiency, or no, speed, and 200% efficiency. So it runs cheaper now than before. 4,684 RF a tick, where before, without any of the synergies, it was running at 13,000, which was kind of ridiculous. Let me drop off some plutonium. 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy will run, and I'll do the same thing on this guy over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let me show you, even the nuclear reactors, they are both identical in design. 9,984 RF a tick, heat production 76. Everything is fine. This guy runs unstable. That's fine, because it does not go above the 1227, 1228 that it blinks on right here. It's no problem. It doesn't go up higher than this. So even though it's unstable, it works. This thing's not going to explode. It is not running on active cooling, so I don't need to worry about this thing blowing up. It'll just run out of juice. But what I was talking about, all of the numbers inside, rod count 4, internal pulses 12, external pulses, generated heat, generated energy, and the fuel rate, the burn. Everything is the same except for the heat. Hottest part, 1227, and it blinks 1228. This guy has always been exactly 1200. Same exact thing, 9984, 76. All of the numbers are exactly the same. But why does this one run 1200 and the other one run 1227? I think it just has something to do with the programming of the mod. Also, when this buffer is full, it will still burn your plutonium, which kind of is a super bummer. I wish everything was super effective so that we wouldn't waste plutonium. But we have more than enough plutonium coming in. Alright, so let's check out these batteries. Yeah, 5 million on this outside ring, 5 million on this guy. The reactors are running now. I picked up the particle accelerators and put them back down. They're waiting to accelerate. Let's see if that fixed the problem. This guy is set to on, fluxite, energite, and let's go. And let's see if they miss again. Inside circle is spinning, redstone is measuring, and when it hits a certain speed, it ejects it into the next ring. Good. And it is speeding up, speeding up. Redstone will eject it past 2500. And there we go. It showed the line and we heard the thunder, and I'm assuming that it smashed over here again. This is 172, 122. 224.82, but at 5,000. 224.82, okay. So did it crash over here again? 224.82, so yeah. It smashed over here again, which is good. That means this guy has the overcharged crystal. Cool. It drives me crazy. I wish I could set this up to be 100% reliable, but after 2 weeks of running every single variable that I can think of, including its own power source, this is the most reliable I can get it. Sometimes it smashes over here on this guy. Sometimes it smashes over here on this guy. All right, so let's see. We are at 4.9 on the outside ring and 4.7. So let's go. Whoop. On fluxites, energites, and go. And now let's go over here actually. It should slam right here again. Boom. Yep, it did. Good. Right here, this is the sweet spot. 224.82. Which always makes it come in this particle accelerator, never the other one. So we're able to make this work. This is working. But I really think the numbers of the mod are unreliable, and I cannot figure out what the variable is. I have pipe distance the same. I have power source the same. I have the particle accelerators mirrored on the X and the Y. Everything is identical. Even the power cables that are laid out underneath. This one now over here wants to travel much further than this one because they're colliding over here and not in the dead center. And like I showed you, it missed the first time, but I picked up the particle accelerators and put them back down. I think it might reset something where it checks the entire circle. And of course, I turned the reactors on, so that might be a factor as well. But we are making overcharged crystals now for only energite dust and fluxite, and of course power. Part of me is kind of worried because these tachyon absorbers, you put them here and they absorb power from the collision, which then you could put the power back into the system. But since it is smashing over here, I don't know how I can get it to equally distribute the power to both of the particle accelerators. I think that the tachyons and the power that they generate are going to make this system go wonky again, which is a big bummer because the tachyons thing, that's really cool. So before I call in an episode for the particle accelerator, let me go through the exact setup, one item at a time. So I have pipe coming in from the bottom and it is attaching to the right side of the particle accelerator. The particle accelerator is set down. There is a guide ring in front of it. it goes into 1, 2 linear motors, then it goes into a guide ring which turns, it crosses 1 block into another guide ring, it goes into 3 linear motors, into a guide ring which turns, 1 block into another one, another 3 of the linear motors, guide ring, turns 1 block into another one. Here we have 2 linear motors and a particle accelerator sensor, which has a redstone comparator for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 redstone. It attaches to this particle accelerator guide ring over here. When it triggers this and it hits speed, every time it circles around, it gathers more redstone power until it gathers to a point where it turns this gate from a turn to a straight gate. So when this one reaches a certain speed, the redstone changes this, it points it straight, and it fires it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 gap into the 6th particle accelerator guide ring, which turns with 1 block distance into another guide ring. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 gap into 1, 2, 3 motors, into another 4 gap, turns, into a 3 diagonal gap, turns, 4, 3, 4, guide ring, 3, turn. It has 4 gap here, 3, 4, 3 gap, 4 gap, 3 of them, 4 gap, and it circles around again. When it gets to here, this one points this way. It will ignore this guy, which is funny because in one of my fail episodes, I made a sticky piston lift this guy up and down. That was also attached by a redstone repeater from this one here. So I had a redstone repeater going here and downstairs, coming around, lifting this guy up when this one hits the redstone signal right before opening the gate. So when the redstone signal gets here, the signal lifts this one up. Then the signal triggers this guy to point this one, fires it in here to turn the corner. And because the redstone signal is down, this guy goes down with it, which I thought was pretty funny. Like I was saying, it heads from this one. It does ignore this guy because it doesn't point inside. And it does this 3 gap to go inside here and follow the circle again, counterclockwise. Over here, in the 1, 2, 3rd spot, another particle accelerator sensor, redstone comparator, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It triggers this particle accelerator guide ring on the outside when it gathers enough speed to go straight, which fires it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It does a gap of 9 into this straightaway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into this guy, which turns. 1, 2, 3 gap, turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a guide ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guide ring, turns for 3. Shoots for 9, turns for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, turns for 5, 9, turns for 3, turns for 5, and this is where it collides, straight for 5, I meant straight for 5, straight for 5, turns for 3, straight for 9, straight for 9, into this one, which is the identical setup. And then of course I wanted everything to be symmetrical here, so underneath, let me show you guys, I'll go down here. Everything above ground is symmetrical. I have it coming down, and it goes straight all the way through and goes in on the right hand side of the particle accelerator and up one. The item will not go inside the bottom of the particle accelerator, it has to go in the side. And then, of course, the nuclear reactors, I don't think the power cable design matters, but I have a straight line going out the side where the exit is, and then just straight lines attaching all of the guide rings that are on top. It is completely symmetrical. You have to do 2 hoppers and then open them up with the item pipes underneath, and you have to lock the hopper on top, or else it will just immediately drop the item through. So you have to lock it with the on signal, or else it will launch it through. And here we go. We'll make another one of these overcharged crystals. 3rd time is a charm. So it should still be doing exactly the same thing. Also be careful. This particle, if you touch it, it will destroy your character. Outside ring. And then it will fire this direction whence that. Redstone signal right there. Yep. Fired it. We heard the lightning, and it probably collided right here again. 224.82. 224.82. Perfect. And then, of course, we need 2 of these for every one of these Synergy Matrix add-ons. So I can make one more in a little bit. 2 million. Yep, running at almost 10,000 RF a tick. This is going well. I'll make one more Synergy Matrix add-on with you guys. One of these. And these guys. There we go. Synergy Matrix add-on. And we can replace another one of these dudes with a Synergy Matrix add-on. Add-on. It's starting to look kind of redonkulous. But for every 2 of these we make, of course, we can make the Heisenberg compensators and then upgrade our machine speed add-ons and efficiency add-ons with copper reinforced plating. So I really hope this episode helped you guys out. It was very, very difficult for me to run these experiments with everything that I have to do in my personal life. So if you could leave a thumbs up for my effort, that would really, really, really brighten my day. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Smash like to show your appreciation, and consider leaving a boom in the comment section below. Also, click on my dude here to subscribe for more Let's Plays. Ooh.